Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news, transfer news as we know. And it's been a frustrating day for Manchester United. Again, we're waiting on a decision to be made on Erik ten Hag. And as the days, the hours, hopefully not weeks, but as time passes, Manchester United are falling further and further behind in the transfer market and in the race to sign players because we haven't made a decision on who the manager is. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and maybe the implications it's going to have. As you can see in the title of the video, Manchester United have doubts over whether Michael Olise will be coming to Manchester. Obviously, there's interest from other clubs. We'll get into a little bit about it as well. And again, this kind of doubles down on the fact that we're being slow in the transfer market. Update on Jadon Sancho and a potential move to Borussia Dortmund may be falling apart. We'll talk about that. And I want to talk a little bit as well about Lenny Yoro, who today has been pretty strongly linked with a move to Manchester United as well. We've spoke about Everton players, and we're not going to speak about Brantwaite tonight. We'll speak maybe a little bit about him because Everton have slapped a price tag on him, and it's just laughable to be quite honest. But Onana as well, centre midfielder, again is a player United have been linked with. We've been linked with a left back playing in the Premier League as well. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk, of course, about the manager situation. And Xavi Alonso supposedly being approached as well. Or sorry, not Xavi Alonso, just Xavi. Xavi Alonso would be a terrible choice of manager. But as you can see on the screen over here, guys, we do have a 10% discount running at the moment for our merchandise. Anyone has any interest, you can scan the QR code or you can click the link in the description of the video as well. Go check it out. And then we've also got our football community channel over here as well. Scan the QR code, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing all of our watch alongs throughout the season or throughout the summer, aka the Euros, over on Football Community Channel. So make sure you're subscribing to that as well. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. As always, get your thoughts and comments in. Who have we got? Oshin is there, Ben is in, Daryl, Niall is there as well, Alan is in also. Good to see you guys. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. It helps the channel out an awful lot, as you know, and subscribe if you're new. But look, let's jump straight into it, guys, and we're going to talk about, I suppose, the frustrations Manchester United fans are already feeling around the decision over Erik ten Hag and what's going to happen in relation to him. Manchester United's transfer window is in a standstill mode due to uncertainty over Erik ten Hag. And again, look, it's coming up on a week now since the FA Cup final, and you know, reports around the time were suggesting that Manchester United are going to make a decision pretty much straight away on Erik ten Hag, and a lot of people were saying he was going to get sacked. Now, did the FA Cup final win and the impressiveness of it maybe throw a little bit of a spanner in the works and maybe, you know, stop INEOS in their tracks and make them think maybe we've actually got a manager here who's good enough to take us forward. Regardless of whether that's the case or not, we are yet to find out whether he will be our manager next season or not. Look, again, I will always say, I think it's quite clear now, I want him to stay. I want him to get a third season. But whether that is going to happen or not, again, remains to be seen, and it is up to INEOS whether they keep him or not. It's starting to frustrate me a little bit, I won't lie. Now, look, I mean, we're not seeing other teams, you know, get business done or anything like that. Obviously, the transfer window is not even open yet. However, I go back to what I've said yesterday, and we'll get on to Michael Olise in a moment. What player is going to sign for Manchester United, or any club for that matter, when they don't know who the manager is going to be for the upcoming season? You know, that would be like saying to Jadon Sancho, you know, come back to Manchester United now. You know, we want you back for the upcoming year. And he's saying, well, wait now, is ten Hag going to be the manager or not? Because if he is, I don't want to go anywhere near the club, given the falling out that they had. And if he's not the manager, then Jadon Sancho's going, right, lovely, happy days, let's go, let's get back into the swing of things. And that's going to be the case with any player, you know. A player will want to know, like, for example, let's say we were to go out and hypothetically reappoint Jose Mourinho. Name a player that has fallen out with Mourinho, for example. I can't think off the top of my head. Let's say, for example, it was Luke Shaw. Okay, with Luke Shaw actually pretty much did have a falling out with him. And let's say Luke Shaw was about to sign for Manchester United. And he's saying to the board, who's going to be the manager next year? And they're saying, well, we don't know if it's going to be Ten Hag. We're thinking about, maybe Jose Mourinho. And he's going, well, see you later. I'm out of here. So that's the conundrum that we're in at the moment. And I was reading an article on The Athletic today. And when, was it the first or the second season with Ajax, Ten Hag, he won the title with Ajax. And as soon as the season was over, he stayed for 2 weeks and planned who they wanted to get in within the transfer window, in the upcoming summer transfer window. And then once that was done over a 2-week period, he obviously left the negotiations to the likes of Van der Sar or whoever was in charge at that time. And he then went on holidays. Erik ten Hag is currently on holidays. He has no idea what the future holds for him either. And I think that actual point alone being made in The Athletic is, just kind of gives you the shivers a little bit. We're starting this transfer window quite slow. It has to be said. We're starting it very slow. And look, it doesn't mean we can't catch up. And as well, I you know me, I don't want to be too negative all of the time. I am certain that there is work going on in the background. There is. Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth is not in yet, but you're talking Dave Brailsford, you're talking Jason Wilcox, the scouting department, all of these kind of areas of the club will be working hard at the moment and identifying players that we want to go out and get over the summer. It's just a shame that Erik ten Hag has no input in it at the moment, and he's currently in the dark over whether he'll actually be the manager or not. And I think that's the key area of concern here. Erik ten Hag knows more than anybody else the areas of the team that he wants to improve. Now, on the flip side of things, he might have already said to INEOS and to Brailsford and to whoever else he has to say to the key areas that he needs to strengthen. He might have already gone to them and said, I want 2 centre-backs, I want a centre midfielder, and I want a centre-forward. They're my 4 priorities. Outside of that, I want a right midfielder and I want a left back or a right back, whatever the case may be. He might have already gone to the board with a list like that. Now, we have heard earlier in the week that INEOS' new way of doing things is going to be the manager going to the board and outlining the areas of improvement that are needed within his team. INEOS and the board and Wilcox and Barada and Ashworth will then go out. They will come back with a list of 3 players for each position and give the manager his pick. So I don't think it's, while the mainstream media and we're talking about it, and it is frustrating straight away to the eye that Erik ten Hag has gone on holidays and the decision has not been made yet. That doesn't mean that he hasn't already handed over a list and he wants a certain player or a certain position filled. And I think that's probably what has happened, and that's why he's gone on holidays. Now, take his holidays, and hopefully INEOS will back him. He'll get back in, get his feet in under the desk and get to work on signing players. So yeah, look, it is frustrating straight away to the eye, but I think, if you step back and have a look at it, then yeah, I think it's not as detrimental as it may seem. Let's see what people are saying in the chat here. Oshin says, it seems at the minute INEOS couldn't find their holes with both hands. Would you take Sancho back, says Niall? No, I wouldn't. Absolutely not. Daryl says 90 million. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Alan is in. Good to see you, pal. Let's see. What else have we got? Why would anyone want to sign for a team when you don't know who your day-to-day boss is going to be? Shambles. John is in at Appreciate the 2 months, John. Absolute legend. Thanks for the support, as always. Greetings from Sweden. Erik Ten Hag in. Thanks for being a channel member for 2 months now. If anyone else wants to become an official channel member, guys, link is in the description of the video. Some extra perks there. Go check it out. And thanks for the support, as always. Let's see, Dylan says, we could get kudos if Olise is out. We're turning into Chelsea now, says Niall. Daryl says, INEOS are a fucking joke. It's all about jobs for the boys. Look, the one thing I want to say here about INEOS and the online fan base is starting to get a little bit irritated with them. They've just started, lads. They've just started. We can't start giving out about them yet, especially when we've had 20 plus years of, well, nearly 20 years of Glazer ownership. Let's all take a breath for a minute. INEOS have just got their feet in under the table. They're carrying out a review. They're restructuring the business, which any new owner does when they come into a business, whether that means cutting staff, which I don't think they're doing. They're offering voluntary redundancy if you don't want to go back and work in the office. Let's give them a minute and see how we get on. But yeah, I do understand that it's frustrating that we're waiting to hear a decision on Erik Ten Hag, but it seems like it's going to be next week. So look, not the end of the world. We won more than Arsenal in the last 2 years, says Alan. We did. Oshin says, I think sacking Benny McCarthy is a huge clue that he's going. In my opinion, they're removing his coaches around him, making his position untenable. Yeah, I mean, wasn't it Erik Ten Hag that brought Benny McCarthy in, I think? And it's strange, even from the onset, that Benny McCarthy would get a different length contract to that of Erik Ten Hag and his other coaching staff there. So it is a strange one. It is a strange one. Now, look, there has been reports suggesting that Benny McCarthy has been linked with an MLS team, Kaiser Chiefs, I think, is it? In the MLS. I think they're in the MLS, and I would presume so with a name like that. So maybe, you know, Manchester United are going, look, we won't renew your contract. We know you've been linked as, you know, a manager and clubs are looking at you. So that could be the case either. Daryl says, what coach will want to come in to the club with the Rats rule in place? Neverword says, Olise a doubt. So we went from overspending to not spending at all. Good business, Jim. You. Cheers, lads. I'm having me some beers after a hard day's work. It was a hot day today. Summer came early this year. We had 25 degrees today, says John. There you go. Happy days. Hope you enjoyed it. John, enjoy the beers, my man. John S. is in as well. Good to see you. Ajinkia says, hate this lack of communication from INEOS. Look, that will change, guys. That will change. It will change. They're carrying out a review at the moment. It takes time. It will change. Right, want to move it on. And I want to talk, obviously, the title of the video is in relation to Michael Olise and whether or not Manchester United are actually going to be able to get the deal done. This is coming from Academy Scoop, who is building a bit of a reputation as having some good sources. He mainly focuses around the academy of Manchester United, but over the last while he has been coming out with some good stories. They fear that Manchester United could miss out on Michael Olise, with Chelsea growing increasingly confident of securing the Crystal Palace star's signature. Now, we know what Chelsea do. Chelsea will come in, they want to sign young players, and they'll throw a ball of cash at them. And I think the issue and the trouble always has been with Manchester United is that it's not in London. And I can't remember how long ago it was. It was back in the mid-2000s, I think, or maybe around 2010, I think, that United were actually given serious consideration to moving their training ground to London, where players would actually live and train in London and travel to Old Trafford for match days. And it was quickly shot down, obviously, because you would be removing the kind of soul of the club by removing the players out of it, I think. And it's always been a case that players like to live in London. They don't like to live in Manchester. London is the capital. There's a lot more going on, and weather is slightly better. And Michael Olise is already living in London, playing for Crystal Palace. So that automatically gives Chelsea a slight boost in terms of, actually signing the player. However, Michael Olise, according to a number of different reports, wants to play for Manchester United. He's a bit of a Manchester United fan as well. Now, look, Manchester United and Michael Olise have been tied and have been closely knitted together over the last, you would have to say, maybe 3 months, probably since the end of January. I think we were linked with him in January as well. And it's an area of the pitch that, while I don't think it is a number one priority, the right wing, I certainly do think it's an area that we need to improve on. I've said it before that, I'm talking centre back, centre midfield and centre forward. Up through that spine is the area that we need to improve more than anything else. Now, that doesn't mean that when a deal and an offer comes up, you shouldn't take it. Absolutely you do. And I think Michael Olise is the type of player that can come in and hit the ground running at Manchester United. He's able to score goals. He's able to assist. He's played in the Premier League. There is a small doubt over his injury record and the fact that he had three injuries this season, all the same injury. Now, I understand that some of the blame does have to lie at the feet of Roy Hodgson. I think he brought him back too soon and re-injured him when he shouldn't have had. But I think this is the type of player and the type of profile of player that we should be bringing into Manchester United. As a winger, I think he can do, he can get down the line, he can cross the ball, he can cut in, he can take a shot. I'm a big fan of him, I won't lie. Now, 60 million we're talking about for him, and there doesn't seem to be much budging on that because I think it's a release clause within his contract of about 60 million. So, I mean, it's a big chunk of a potential. There's talks today that United are only going to have around 100 million to spend, and anything above that will have to come from sales of players. Now, 60 million for Michael Olise is a big gamble, and it's a big chunk of your transfer budget when it's not an area that is, like I said, a number one priority. Centre back is number one. I mean, if you think about it, we're short on centre backs at the moment. We're actually in need of centre backs. Varane is gone, and we're probably going to sell one of either Lindelof or Harry Maguire to raise funds. So that means we've got to prioritise centre back. Is Casemiro going to go to Saudi Arabia? We've got to prioritise centre midfield. And Rasmus Højlund can't lead a line on his own for another season. We've got to prioritise another striker. When it comes to the right side, albeit they're not the best options, Ahmad, Anthony, Garnacho can all play in that position. And even Rashford at a push and a stretch can play there. So the right side is not a key area of concern. So to go out and spend 60 million of your transfer budget on a player that is not a top priority. Sorry, not that the player is not a top priority, but the area, the position within the team is not a top priority. It is a big gamble. But I do think we are going to sell players this summer. So I think it will be, I won't say easy to generate money, but I think it will be easier than previous years because we're looking to get players off the books. And we've made that clear from minute one. So, yeah. Let's see what you guys think. Let's go back through some of the comments here and see how we get on. Football Community Channel, guys. Make sure you're subscribing. Scan the QR code. Link is in the description. All of the watch-alongs for the Euros are going to be on Football Community Channel. It's our second channel. Make sure you go check it out. And as well, we've got a merchandise store as well. You can scan the QR code there. Use the discount code UCC for 10% off at checkout as well. Go check out some of the merch. I'm wearing it right here. Let me show you. It's my favourite of them all. The U Trinity. Get your jumpers in, get your t-shirts in, get your mugs in. It supports the channel, and get them in, and we'll all have them on for pre-season. Yeah, let's see what people are saying here. Oshin says, I just hope we don't get drawn into sagas. We could do without it. Yeah, absolutely. I think more than anything else, you know, when we're talking about the transfer window this summer, we want speed more than anything else. We don't want, you know, stories rambling on and are we getting this lad, you know, De Jong, for example, and Anthony. We were linked with Anthony at the start of June 2 years ago, and we signed him at the end of August. You know, that can't happen again this summer. We've got too much business to do this summer. If you're looking at moving out, for example, 10 players, and you're looking to bring in 6 or 7, and you're looking over a 3-month period, you're talking about a signing or a departure every 4 or 5 days. You know, so we really do have to get our act together. We've started slow. We need a decision on Erik ten Hag, because that's slowing everything down in terms of players coming in. But it's going to be a very busy transfer window. We need to get our business done quickly and as efficiently as possible if we're going to have so many players coming in and players going out, because there's an awful lot. There really, really is an awful lot. Yeah, let's see. Mohammed says, Yoro, good signing for us. I'm going to get on to Yoro in a moment, guys. I've got an interesting kind of a take on it, and I'll see whether you agree with me. Neverworld says, how the F can we as Manchester United not scoop a player from Crystal Palace? That there is a sign of how far we've fallen. Well, it's not that we can't scoop him. I think I'm still confident that we are going to get Michael Olise. I really do think we will. It's just we've now got competition from Chelsea, who will just throw a ball of cash at him, and you know he already lives in London, so that's the concern. Laser says, I think the majority of the fan base need to give INEOS time. They're doing well in sorting out the recruitment team and employing more club staff. I agree. I do agree. They have changed an awful lot in the background, and it's going to take time for that to... Sorry, I've got an itchy nose all fucking day. Hay fever is at me. It's going to take time for us to reap the rewards of the changes going on in the background. We've said this a few months back, that buying a new centre-back or buying a new centre midfielder or buying a new centre-forward is not going to fix the problems at Manchester United. The problems at Manchester United run deep. So fixing the structure of the club with a new director of football, a new CEO, a new technical director, so on and so forth, is what INEOS are trying to do. And that's going to take time. And that's where fans need to be patient, especially the online fans who are already jumping on their backs about, you know, how long it's taking, you know, to make a decision on Ten Hag and so on and so forth. They're carrying out a review. They're restructuring the business like any new owner would do when they come into a new business. Give them time. It's going to take time, guys. We've got to be patient. We've been patient for 18 years under the Glazers. Let's just be patient for a little bit longer. Let's see. Ben says, I heard Olise is wanting the move to Man United, so if it's true, move quickly, get it done so we can concentrate on priorities. Absolutely. Mohammed says, João Neves is also a good signing for us. Absolutely. Neverwar says, if Olise isn't instantly interested, then move on. They don't want to play for the badge instead of a pay packet, then they can go themselves. Look, this is the transfer window hasn't even opened yet. And by all accounts, Olise is favouring a move to Manchester United. We're just talking about another team and another club coming in as interest. Damien says, Kambwala for the centre-back spot. I wouldn't want to rush him. Okay, now, and I'm going to get on to Yoro in a moment as well in relation to... the potential signing of him, and I'll remind me, Damien, when I start talking about him, to bring Kambwala into that debate as well, because being young at centre back is tough. Dylan says, we could offer a swap deal for Olise. Anthony could be grown into or go into the swap deal. I don't know if Crystal Palace would even want him, to be honest. Would you sign Amrabat, says John? Yeah, I've mentioned before, I think the fact that I think it's only 13 million for us to sign him on a permanent deal, I think he would be a good squad player. I'd like to see him signed. I really would. Ahmed says, patience is the key word of INEOS. Buckle up, Man United fans. We are going for for a fearful summer transfer ride. There we go. Benny says, think Olise is going to be a Mason Mount part 2? I don't think so. And I hope not. What would you do with the likes of Mount? Well, look, season 1, you know, we done our season review the other day, and he did kind of fall into the flop category, but that doesn't mean he's always going to be a flop. He had a bad season with injuries. I'm still going to back him, and I just don't see where he gets into this team. He's not going to take his Manu out of the team. He's not going to take Bruno out of the team, and it looks like we're going to go and sign a new CDM. So I don't know. I think he's going to be back up. I really do. He's gone in my team. Says Neverworld. Ajinkia says we should at least be getting 3 centre backs. I would love Todibo, Yoro, and Tosin. Tosin. I don't think we'll get 3. I think 2 at a max. Mohammed says we also need Desire. And Dylan says, would you get Antonio Silva? Well, let me move it on and talk a little bit, guys, about a potential outgoing for Manchester United at the moment. Before we get back to more incomings, we'll break it up a little bit. And this, of course, is in relation to Jadon Sancho. Oh, sorry, wrong slide. This is coming from Sky Sports in Germany, and they're saying that Dortmund can't afford to sign Jadon Sancho from Manchester United on a permanent deal. As it stands, the whole package is too expensive for them. Another loan deal could be a possibility for them. Now, I want to see when his contract is up. Yeah, his contract expires in 2026, so we've got 2 years left, and we do have the option to extend it for another year. So, I mean, the option for another 12-month loan for Jadon Sancho is there. Okay, now for all the sorry, a Celine Dion song just popped into my head there, just out of nowhere. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. Great song. Someone tell me the name of it in the chat. Lifted me up when I couldn't do. You gave me faith cause you believed I'm everything I am because you love me. Ooh. Oh, what a tune. Only on the United Community Channel. Anyway, back to more important things. It is a possibility for Jadon Sancho to go out on loan again. Now, this is for all the Jadon Sancho supporters and people who support Jadon, you know, supposed Manchester United fans that prefer to support an individual player. You know, these fans that follow players to different clubs and then support the clubs that they're playing at. I can't stand ye. Why is there no one else in for Jadon Sancho if he's so good? Why are we not getting anybody, any other club, or any other links to any other clubs for Jadon Sancho? You know what I mean? It's Dortmund or nothing, I think. And I think Jadon Sancho probably doesn't want to sign for anybody else other than Dortmund. So, I mean, options are very, very limited when it comes to Jadon Sancho. Now, what do we do as a club when it comes to the player? Does Jadon Sancho come back and get reintegrated into the squad? Or, you know, do United say, all right, well, we'll give you one more year as a loan fee to Dortmund? But again, if you look at it, we were paying massive wages for him, and the wages are the problem with Jadon Sancho here. You know, 50 million potentially is what United are looking for. Fucking 50 million is nothing. You know, like, Jesus Christ, Everton could afford 50 million. They could, you know, well, maybe not Everton, but I'm talking a mid-table team could afford to splash the cash. You know, like, Spurs could afford 50 million. Newcastle could afford 50 million. Brighton could probably afford 50 million. It's the wages that are the issue, and whether Jadon Sancho is going to be another one of these players like Anthony Martial and Harry Maguire was pretty much sewn up, gone to West Ham last year, only they were going to half his wages. Is he going to be another player that's saying, I'm not leaving because I'm getting so much money here. And I go back to what we've said when Erik ten Hag got the job and was, came in. And then we started talking about the same thing when INEOS took over. There's a hangover, and there's going to be a hangover for another few years yet, of players that were given too much money under the old regime that will not leave. And it's probably going to be the case that we lose them on a free transfer 2 or 3 years down the line, like what happened with Martial. And I could see Jadon Sancho going in that direction unless a Saudi Arabia come in and offer him massive money, or he's willing to cut his wages to go to the likes of Borussia Dortmund. I think we will get more clarity around Jadon Sancho when the decision has been made on Erik ten Hag, because we know the issue there. It's going to be one or the other at Manchester United. Both of them will not be at Manchester United next season. Well, they may well be, but Jadon Sancho won't be in the first team unless he apologises. So I think we'll get more clarity around Jadon Sancho once once the Ten Hag situation gets resolved as well. Let's see what you're saying here. Am I the only United fan that doesn't want Neves? He's too pricey and unproven, and if he flops, we will never be able to offload him without taking a price hit. It's a huge gamble, Neverworld. It really is a huge gamble. I agree with you. He is quality, though. He is quality. There's a reason why every top club in Europe are looking at him. So, yeah, but I do agree. It's a big gamble. And to be honest with you, I don't think we'll be going for him. He's too expensive. There's talks of 120 million euro, I think, for him. So, yeah, I don't see United going from. That would be our transfer budget completely gone. Dylan says, would you give Luke Shaw one more season or get a new left back? Well, we are looking at a left back, and I'll get into that in a moment. I don't think we're probably going to get rid of Luke Shaw this summer. I would give him one more season and prioritise left back next summer. I've said that, for a while now. Wouldn't carry a tune in a bucket, Jack, says Damien. Neverworld says, Sancho can go out on loan for the rest of his career so long as they're paying the majority of his wages. Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think Dortmund are paying the majority of his wages. I think we are. So we're basically paying Dortmund to have Jadon Sancho, and they're in a European Cup final. So it's not something I'm in favour of. You're a different breed, Jack, says Young Sauce. Laser says, I know we're Manchester United, but that worries me. But what worries me is that a lot of players will want to play Champions League football next season. Now with newer teams in the Champions League, players will now want to try different, like Villa, etc. Well, there is always the advantage of being in the Champions League. However, we are in the Europa League. I know it's not as prestigious as the Champions League, but it's not nothing. And I think given the type of players that we're going out and looking to sign, young up-and-coming players under the age of 25, I think being in the Europa League for one season is not the end of the world. Ben says, has to be a loan with an obligation to buy if it's a loan again. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Ajinkia says, no, Jadon Sancho should never come back. He should be sold ASAP. He's a flag bearer of toxicity, is what I think. And I agree with you 100%. Mohammed says, Neves is like Rodri. He's like, he is better than Enzo. Yeah, he's that Rodri-esque type of player. Small, stocky, strong, can pass, can tackle. He's got it all, in fairness. I can't see Sancho or Erik ten Hag backing down, says John. A lot of clubs may not want a troublemaker in the dressing room. Now, want to move it on, guys, and I do want to talk about Lenny Yoro and a potential move. Sorry, just let me put the dog out of the room for 1 sec. Go on, Messi. Out you go, buddy. Good boy. It's such a great dirt top, isn't it? Link in the description. Get yours. Lenny Yoro. Manchester United are now actively looking at signing Lenny Yoro from Lille. And this is coming from the Muppeteers. Now, look, again, I'll go back to what we've said. Centre-back is an area of concern. Now, we've been linked with Jesus, every centre-back and their grandmother at this stage. I want to see what... the price for Lenny Yoro is. We're looking at, let's see. There's talks of him going for 60 million. 60 million. Okay. So Lenny Yoro for 60 million. Here's my concern with this. Look, Lenny Yoro, from the little bit that I've seen him and the research that I've been doing on him over the past maybe week or so, and that's basically looking at YouTube videos and looking at transfer market and FB ref and all that kind of stuff. This guy is a good player. He really, really is a good player. And he again, we go back to what we were talking about with Todibo. Very similar type of player to the likes of Varane. And Yoro is the same. 18 years of age, playing at Lille. My issue here is he is a fantastic player, but Lenny Yoro to Manchester United right now doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because 60 million for an 18-year-old that you do need to drip feed into the first team squad over the next couple of seasons is not what we need at the moment. We are not in a position like Real Madrid or like, Man City or like Arsenal or like Juventus, whoever it may be, that have got established players within their squad. And then you can bring in a young player like this as a prospect for the future and drip feed him into the team over the next couple of seasons. We can't do that this summer. We need ready-made starters to go in, and especially at centre-back. We need centre-backs that can play and that can start and that are good enough to try and replace the likes of Varane, because we know how good Varane is. So while I do love, the idea of Lenny Yoro, if the money was right, if you're talking 30, 40 million, then okay, I think you could potentially go with that. But when our budget is going to be strained so much because we need so many signings, going for a young prospect like this who might not be ready for another couple of years is not the option. There will be a Lenny Yoro next season and another one the season after and another one the season after and another one the season after. Let's get the players in that can start and play and do well now. And then we can look at getting prospects in 2 or 3 years' time. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, look, I do think he is a very good footballer. Absolutely, I do. Let me see what people are saying here. Laser says, Jack, our number one priority this summer is to not overspend again. I would rather us signing players for 10 to 15 to 20 to 25 million. Overspending is a habit we can't seem to break and we need to stop. Great point. Absolutely. I agree with you, Laser, 100%. Neverworld says, FFS, is this the Raid League One for players that have done sod all? Yeah, well, again, that I go back to what I've said. He's an 18-year-old. So you're not buying a ready-made player. You're buying someone for the future. And for 60 million, too much. Move on. Laser says, I wouldn't spend 60 million on an 18-year-old centre-back. I'm sorry. I would rather us use 60 million on 3 important positions. Absolutely. Ajinkia says, if Madrid enter the race, he'll choose them over us, and we are absolutely shite when it comes to bidding race, but would love him, to be honest. Yeah, look, and by all accounts, he is leaning towards a move to Real Madrid. They've got the likes of Rudiger there, who's not, going to be there long term, you would think 3, 4, 5 years. So this guy is probably going to be a ready replacement for him. And, what better place to go for the next couple of years to learn your trade. So I think if Real Madrid do make a move for him, I think that's probably where he will end up. Actively looking, as always, says Ahmed. Absolutely. If we're going to spend 60 million on a single centre back, let it be Bremer or De Ligt. There we go. So people have their opinions, absolutely. And once we get a signing in, let's see what you guys think about it and whether you're happy with it or not. I want to talk a little bit, guys, about, we've spoken about the defence enough now, I think. Let's talk about centre midfield a little bit. Reports coming out today that obviously United opted against signing Onana of Everton last summer. It's more like, and he is now more likely to be sold this summer as the club set their valuation. Manchester United opted against making a bid for Everton's Amadou Onana last summer in favour of adding Sofyan Amrabat on loan, given FFP restrictions. Even after Mason Mount completed the 55 million switch, blah, 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 blah. However, blah, 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 what are we doing here? To see, I want to get down to the important part. Whether or not United will reignite their pursuit of Onana remains to be seen. Everton are well aware of widespread interest in their players across the Premier League. Mail Sport reports that the Toffees are adamant about not being bullied into accepting cut price fees for any outgoings this summer amid speculation of clubs capitalising on their precarious financial situation, which lead them to being dealt two separate points deductions. The Merseyside outfit will do their utmost to convince Branthwaite, currently on international duty with England, to stay for at least one more year, while Onana is more likely to depart. They value the 22-year-old in the region of €58 million after seeing Romeo Lavia bought by Chelsea for a similar price last August. Sorry, let me just get that out of the way. So yeah, look, I mean, 58 million for Amadou Onana. It is an area that Manchester United do need to strengthen this summer. And this guy is a good footballer, okay? He is a good footballer. He's got a lot to his game. He's strong. He's good in the tackle. He can pass. He can fucking move. He can get up and down the pitch. And he's big. He is big. 58 million, I think, if you're talking about going into negotiations with Everton, could you get that down to around the 50 million mark? I think you probably could. And for 50 million, I don't think it's that bad of a signing. I really don't. I think he would be a good addition to Manchester United. I think he would give us good balance within that midfield specifically, with the likes of, and as well, height. Height is important in in our Manchester United side, because we don't have it in abundance, you would have to say. When you look at our midfield, if Casemiro is not playing, Casemiro is not overly tall either, by the way, but if he's not playing and, you know, we have to play Mount, Bruno and Manu in the midfield, I mean, are they all under 6 foot? They're not a lot over it, is what I'm trying to say. So this guy would be an absolute animal in the middle of the park for Manchester United, I do think. And it would be a signing that I would love to see, I would have to say. For in around, look, 58 million, if they're setting at 58 million, United go in with a bid at 45. That's my opinion. And whether Everton accept it or not, then that remains to be seen. But I do think he would be a good addition. And it is an area that we need to improve. It has to be said. Ajinkia says, I remember when we missed out on Camavinga in 2021. We were linked with him, but Madrid came in, and they got him. Good move for him. Let's go get Matt O'Reilly for 25 million. Mohammed says, two best prospects in Europe is João Neves and Yoro. Laser says 58 million for a player Everton fans have criticised at times this season. I would pass, but I think we could improve him, but still overpaying for a player that plays for a side that fights relegation. I understand that completely. I don't think we would pay 58 million for him. Like I said, I would be going in with a 45 million bid and seeing where that gets us. I think we could take Fofana for 25 million and Amrabat on a permanent for 21. Only if we get our centre-backs in budget, we should go for Onana. There we go. There is options, you know. It's not the end of the world if we don't. But guys, look, I am going to leave it there. One last time before we go, if you want to check out the merchandise, scan the QR code, or the link is in the description of the video. Go check it out. Like I said, UCC, use it at checkout if you want a 10% discount. Some really good designs there. I'm wearing my favourite, the youth Trinity. I mean, does it get any better than that? And they're really comfortable as well. I always go for a bigger size hoodie, but we've got them in t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got phone cases, we've got a whole load of things, and I'm going to be adding to it as well over the summer, so do keep an eye out on it as well. And as well, Football Community Channel, guys, our second channel. There's no content on it at the moment, but please do go and subscribe to the channel. Scan the QR code, or the link is in the description or of the video as well. All of our watch-alongs for the Euros are not going to be on this channel. They're going to be on Football Community Channel, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers over the course of the Euros, so we can start building the channel. 1,000 subscribers is the goal for any channel. So do go subscribe there as well. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so as well, guys. And of course, subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed as well, because we're getting dangerously close to 10,000 subscribers. We're less than 100 away now, so please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be doing a watch along for the Champions League final tomorrow. I'm not sure whether I've got plans or not just quite yet, but keep an eye out for the Football Community Channel over here. Like I said, if we are doing a watch along, that's where it's going to be. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that as well, and ring the bell notification as well, so you will get notified if we are doing a live. Lads, thanks for watching. If I don't see you tomorrow, have a great weekend, and I'll be back on Monday. Until then, take it easy.